Yeah. Shared screen. So good evening everyone. The agenda for today's meeting is that we are going to discuss regarding cost element accounting. So I have prepared my own notes. So I'll be explaining from the notes itself. So I've done some research from the other sources and I've got these notes. So I'll be discussing about the cost element accounting. So particularly why do we need the cost element accounting is but because the end result is that we are gonna uh, get the reporting of all the expenses as well as the revenues, so that the end users will have a clear clarity about whether they can increase the budget or decrease the budget as per the cost that they are getting incurred. So for this particular reasons we'll be creating cost element accounting. We'll be needing the cost element accounting. So the end result would be like this. So this is the report that the end user will be getting. The top retail sales and wholesale sales are the revenue accounts, and post that we are having all the expense accounts. So will be it'll be easy to analyze, like if they are in a profit or they are in a loss. So as per their conditions, there will be handling their budget as per the conditions. So coming to the cost elements, so there are two type of cost elements. One is primary cost element, and the second is secondary cost element. So primary cost element is like, I'll be giving you the examples of primary cost elements, like the expenses that are occurred in the company. For example, like the salary will be an expense, the rent will be an expense, and the material. Sometimes, like we usually see it as an asset, but usually we pay for the raw materials as well. So that will be considered as an expense. So whatever the expense accounts will be there, we'll be considering primary cost element. Suppose that we'll be checking information regarding secondary cost elements. So in secondary cost elements, like whatever the internal activities that are happening, that will be considered in secondary cost elements. So over here, like the production cost will be considered as the secondary cost element. Material overheads, like machine activity, internal activity, and also production overheads. So material overheads is something like from procuring the sample of a material to the whole quantity of the material. There will be so many costs or expenses that will be occurred. So as per the needs, we'll be considering the whole material overheads. So one more thing I would like to add on in primary cost element. So particularly we can assign the cost element category. No, sorry, we can assign the cost element to the same GLs that we have already created. That is the expense GLs. But over here in secondary cost elements, whatever the GLs that we have already created, we can't assign them to cost elements. We are supposed to give a unique GL number, and we can assign that to a cost element. So these are the differences between primary cost element and secondary cost element. So even for every cost element, we'll be having, so these are the T codes for the cost elements. Sorry, the transaction codes are K01 and K06 for primary as well as for secondary. So we are going to talk about the ECC, how in ECC it will be working, and how in S4 HANA it will be working. So first we'll be discussing about the ECC 6. So coming below, so this is the path that we are supposed to follow. So first we have two options. We'll be creating manual creation. Even in manual creation, there is primary and secondary cost element. Similarly, in automatic creation, there is primary and secondary cost element. So for creating, the manual creation, this is the path that we are supposed to go. Go to SPRO, IMG, and click on edit chart. Execute edit chart of accounts. So over here, you'll be giving whatever the chart of accounts that you have created. Once you give that, click on position, you will be taken to this particular page where you will be giving manual creation for cost elements. So we'll be talking first about manual creation. So we'll be selecting manual creation, and once you click on save, and once you come back, you can go to FS00 and you can open the same GL, whatever the GL that we have already created for the chart of accounts. So that particular GL that we are selecting is rent expense. So this is one kind of an expense. So for this, click you are supposed to click on edit cost. I'll just zoom in. Give me a minute. Yes, is this visible? Is the screen visible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So over here we'll be going into FS00. Similarly, over here, whatever the GL that we have, already created, we'll be going into that particular rent expense GL, and we'll be clicking on cost element, edit cost element. Once you click over here, it will be taking you to the page where the cost element will be the same as the GL number, and you'll be giving the valid from which date that this GL has been created. You will be giving not just the date. You can give the independent fiscal year. So yes, once you give that, okay, valid from and valid to, you can give any date. So once you give this and click on master data, it will be taking you to this particular page. This whole comes under FS00. In the GLs itself. So once you click over here, it will be taking you to the page over here like this. So over here, you are supposed to remember that cost element category. So we are considering this as an expense account. So if we drill down over here, there will be multiple options for you. So this is particularly for primary cost. So we'll be considering expenses as primary cost. So we'll be giving the cost element category as 1. So once you give 1, you can click on save. On top it will be there. Once you click on save, it will be you will be getting a message like this. The cost element has been created. So particularly for one expense account, we have created one cost element. Cost element has been created. So once this is done, again you will be going to wages expense. This is another GL that we have already created. So once you create, once you go to wages expense, again the same process goes for you. You are supposed to go to edit cost element, and give whatever the desired inputs that you have, you're supposed to deploy it over here. And once you deploy it, you just have to go to master data, and the same thing. This is an expense account, so I'll be considering as primary cost. I'll be giving that as 1. The cost element category as 1, and I'll just click on save. It'll be showing us a message like cost element has been created. So this is the way you can manually create the primary cost elements. So coming to the secondary cost element, one second. Yes, coming to the secondary cost element. So yes, sales is an expense. Okay, I'm sorry. So this is one way where we can, this whole procedure is one way where we can create, we can create a cost element through path. So we'll be going through one more way, that is through
Sir,
T code.
sir, sorry to interrupt. Could you please increase the font size?
I'll just increase the font size.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
it visible
little more.
now?
Yeah, yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we'll be for till now we have discussed about like the path that we will be creating for manual creation. Now we'll be talking about the path. The T code. The T code for primary cost element is K01, and secondary cost element is K06. So we'll be going through the T code. You can go to the T code. Even in easy access, you can see over here that you can create a primary account, you can create a secondary account, and also you can change whatever the these are the T codes that you're supposed to remember, or this is available in outsource. You can check it out. So once you give K01, sorry, yes, once you give K01, the second account, second GL type that I'll be selecting is the revenues account. So sales is a revenue. So I'll be selecting sales, and I'll be clicking on, the mass. Going further to the edit cost elements, I'll be selecting the master data. So once the master is data is selected, I'll be coming back and I'll just save it. The cost element will be created. So we have created two GLs, two cost elements for expense and one cost element for revenue. So this is how we can create, the cost elements, the primary cost elements manually. So we'll be talking about the secondary cost elements. So over here, the thing that we are supposed to remember is even, the same thing, how we proceed. So whenever you're giving the cost element the same as the GL number, you'll be getting an error like this. The GL account 6014 exists. Secondary cost element does not exist. So like you're never supposed to give the same GL account to the cost element for secondary cost element. So for that, we are supposed to give a unique GL number that has no corresponding GL exists on this particular number. So 7000, 70000 is a GL account number. It's a unique number with on this particular number there is no GL. So once you click on master data, it will be taken to the page and you'll be giving mission hours. So this is an internal activity. So if you are going for the mission hours, so this is an internal activity, and if we drill down the cost element category, you can see an internal activity allocation. You can allocate that particular internal activity. As I said before that the secondary cost elements, we'll be considering the examples of internal activities. The production cost, everything. So we'll be considering this as 43. So once you once you select that, you click on save and it will be the cost element will be created. So we have created primary cost element and secondary cost element. So coming to one second. Okay, so we'll be this is how we'll be creating the primary cost element and secondary cost element for manual creation of cost elements. So we'll be talking about the automatic creation of cost elements. So for automatic creation of cost elements, again we are supposed to go through the path where we are supposed to go through cost controlling, cost element accounting, master data, cost elements, and automatic creation of primary and secondary cost elements. Over here we'll be executing the make default settings. Over here we'll be giving like the chart of accounts that we have already created and click on enter. And once you confirm your chart of accounts, and it will be taking you to the page where it will be asking you for giving the account from account to cost element and short text. So for example, if we are selecting the expense accounts, so for expense accounts there is a number range. In that number range there are expense accounts. So let us consider 6009, 6005 to 6009 are all the expense accounts. So from 6005, like there is an expense account like the rent account, rent expense. 6006 is like salary expense. 6007 is like goods expense or any other expense. Till 6009 there will be the number range. So you will be giving that number ranges over here, and you'll be selecting the cost element category as one, because this particularly comes under primary cost or the primary cost. So similarly you'll be giving the revenue expenses as well, revenue GLs as well. The account from, you'll be giving the revenue expense, whatever the number range that you have in revenue expenses, you'll be giving those accounts, and you just have to save that. The cost element would be 11 definitely, because it is a revenue account, a revenue expense. Sorry, it's a revenue. It's a revenue element category. So once you save this, yes, once you save this particular thing, yeah, once you save that particular thing, the data will be saved. So once you come back, you just have to go to execute create batch input session. So you will be getting this information. So this is the this is the inputs. Whatever the inputs that the client will be giving to you, this inputs you'll be deploying it over here, and you'll be clicking on execute. Once you execute that, it will be taking you to the create batch session input session, where these are the end results. This is how the end result looks like, where how many expenses accounts that you have generated and how many revenue accounts that you have made. So the end users will be getting a clear understanding of how much budget they can allot to this particular area. So, well, once you click on enter and go back, then execute batch input sessions. You will be getting this page, and over here, like once you click select whatever the SAP user that you have selected over here. I mean, select that particular select that particular session and click on process, execute process. And once you click on execute process, it will be asking an information like this, where you'll be giving information like display error only, extended lock, and expert mode. And yes, this is by default. So once you give that and save that, it will be saved. And this is how, I mean, you'll be getting a message on the bottom that the cost elements are created. So particularly for checking the details, you can go to SC16N and you can refer CSKA particularly for cost elements, and CSKB particularly for secondary cost elements. This is for primary cost elements and this is for secondary cost elements. So we have talked, I mean, this is completely regarding ECC 6, but we in real time definitely we are supposed to work on S4HANA. I mean, so I have done my research and I have prepared the notes for this as well. So similarly for S4HANA, I mean, we'll be going into the easy access, where over here we'll be selecting FS00 centrally. And once you select that, you'll be going into the page where you'll already, if you have created any GL account, you can open that GL account. And this is a printing expense GL account. So already the information is already deployed. So once you click on control data, the information that you're supposed to give in control data is account currency as INR. Sorry, you're supposed to mention the account currency as INR and select in local balance currency only, and select sort key, that is 008 for cost center. This is important. And the cost element category, please mention as per your GL selected. So this is an expense account, so we'll be selecting one, particularly primary cost. And in create bank interest, once you go to create bank interest over here, over here, it will be taking it to the page where it will be asking for field status group. Please mention G004. And once that is done, yes, you can give the cost element as normally. And just an input that I would like to add on, I forgot to mention. So on top, yes, over here you have created you have created a range of you have created a cost elements for the range of GLs. So if you, it is automatically posted for every GL account. The cost element has been posted for every GL account. So if you go to every GL account that you have mentioned over here, the cost element category will by default be given over there. So it is automatically posted. So you don't have to check each and every time. As you're giving it over here, this is particularly for automatic posting. Automatic cost. This is particularly for automatic creation of cost elements. So whatever the inputs you're giving, it will be shown whenever you go to this particular GL. So coming down to S4HANA. So yes, once you give the information, the cost element will be created particularly for the expense account. Similarly, you're supposed to we are creating a cost element for secondary cost element. Sorry, we are creating a secondary cost element. So we need to give a unique GL number so that no corresponding GL exists on this number. So over here, whatever the GL account, while creating the secondary cost element, as I said before, you're not supposed to give the existing GL accounts that we have already created. A new GL account should be mentioned over there, and you just click on create. And once you click on create, the basic information like the type or description, secondary cost and secondary cost element. Similarly, the machine hours, we are working on. And once you click on control data, the information that you're supposed to deploy is INR, account currency, select balance in local currency. short key as 001, that is particularly for posting date. And cost element category, please mention as per your selected GLs. So as I mentioned earlier, the machine hours, this is an internal activity. So we'll be selecting 43 as that is for internal activity allocation. And create bank interest field status group as G001. And once you click on save, it will be saved. So particularly whatever the profits, the expenses that you're generating on this particular GLs and the revenues that you're generating on few particular GLs that we have mentioned. So for getting that data, usually the end users go to SC16N, and particularly for primary cost elements, once they give CSKA, they'll be getting a similar document somewhat related to this. So even whatever the amount that has been spent or generated will be mentioned over here, that is in SC16N. So you'll be it will be easy for them to get an idea of how much budget they can allocate for that particular department or anything else. Yes, that's it from my side. Thank you for having me. Good day.
Yeah, thank you, Prem sir. That's actually more informative session. Actually, more than a presentation, it is very informative, and you have also very well explained comparing with the ECC and S4HANA as well. And that's a good job on research part as well. And thanks for sharing this presentation with all of us. And I just wanted to ask about the automatic posting you have mentioned at one part of your presentation.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So is it like similar to FI to MM and FI to SD integration? It is account
No,
determination.
no, no. It's not like that. So this
Okay.
is something different.
Okay.
So you don't have to do the configuration or integration or anything. You just have to assign whatever the cost element that you have created, whatever the GLs that you have created, you're supposed to assign it to cost elements. That's it.
Okay. Okay. Fine. So the output will be automatically taken.
Yes, the output would be automatically taken. Over here, I've explained it
Okay.
very simply, but there will be many errors that anyone can get. If your systems are like, that's what I mean to say. You might get many errors while doing the process of this.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. Thank you very much. Yeah, team. If any one of you have any queries, I think Prem is ready to answer it. I hope every one of you have gone through the presentation till now, and you can ask any of your queries.
Yes, if you have any doubts, I'll try my
Yeah.
best.
Yeah. Please. Maybe you can just share your document as well. You can stop the recording, I think.
Is it okay if I can share?